Hi, and welcome to Soge King Recaps. Today I will talk about the first episode of the anime titled Ghost Messengers. On an ordinary school day, a student named Kanglim is sitting by the window. While looking at the courtyard, the students in front of him comment on a mysterious item they had found at school. However, he seems not to care about it. The boy continues to sit without saying a single word, but at one point when he looks at the children, who seem to be arguing endlessly about it, the students immediately stop as if they are afraid of the boy. On the other hand, a strange young woman watches the dude playing chess while reading a newspaper. At this moment, she sees an older man failing to try to put a coin in a coffee machine. Seeing this, the girl gets up and helps him, saying that drink would do him a lot of good because he would have a long journey ahead of him. While he watched the noisy group, another boy approached Kanglim, asking if he was the extraordinary medium of the school, because if his theory is correct, only he could save the students from being victims of evil spirits. And after Kanglim asked about what was going on, the young man handed him a closed bag saying that inside there was a cursed cell phone since every time he tried to take a picture of someone, that person fainted or disappeared forever. Kanglim was curious about the object, and so he replies that this service would cost him a lot. That afternoon, he returns home a little earlier. The boy lived in a small store together with his grandfather. His mother had died after a tragic accident not explained by the authorities, and due to his strange behavior of medium, his father had abandoned him. While studying on his computer, we have a quick experience of what it was like to be in the skin of Kanglim, the medium boy who saw and touched harmless spirits. As a child, his mother often scolded him for it. According to her, if he wanted to live a normal life in the world, he needed to ignore all those spirits. But for Kanglim, it was impossible, even while trying to follow his mother's advice in front of other people. The next day, Kanglim decides to take a look at the cursed phone. He then discovers that the cell phone has the ability to seal and release any spirit. While playing with such a fun toy, the boy unintentionally ends up summoning a mysterious swordswoman who, after seeing the mobile device in his hand, screams furiously, asking him to return his cell phone of souls. However, the scared boy takes a picture of the swordsman, trapping him again in the cell phone. With this, we see how this man had lost his weapon. In another plane, he seemed to fight against very powerful evil spirits. However, at some point in the fight, he ended up cornered by one of these creatures, so he lost his device. In reality, the device was also a magic sword. With no choices, the swordsman asked the boy not to let any spirit come out of there because otherwise there were going to be severe consequences. But ignoring the warnings combined with his curiosity made him release some of these creatures of the past. For now, the creatures seemed to be very sweet and at some moments did not appear to be dangerous, but as soon as the boy left the house, he realized that a giant spirit was following him. He remembered the words of his mother asking him to pretend that he could not see the things he saw before being pulled into limbo and being completely decimated by phantom creatures. Kanglim was paralyzed, thinking that what had happened to his mother in the past would repeat itself to him. However, he remembered that he had released the creatures in his room and that his grandfather could be in danger. After running home, he realizes that the evil spirits have devoured the other harmless creatures in his room, thus becoming bigger and more powerful. Afraid of the devastating consequences, Kanglim quickly releases the swordsman, hoping that he will solve the problem. The boy asks the young man to hurry as two of the devil dogs had escaped through the window. But before he could finish speaking, the swordsman punches him in the face, saying that from that moment on, it would be better for the boy not to get involved with the spiritual world anymore. Outside, the spirit was destroying the buildings and devouring everyone he met along the way. The swordsman, realizing the situation's seriousness, creates a barrier around the creature and engages in a battle with it. The two seem to fight equally. However, at a certain point in the fight, the swordsman has his arm torn off, and with that, he also loses his magic tool. Without a sword to defend himself against the powerful attacks of the opponent, his death was certain, but later, Kanglim had infiltrated inside the barrier before it was closed. With that, he managed to recover the sword, which turned into a phone in his hand. At this moment, the creature ignores the swordsman. It diverts his attention to Kanglim, but before being attacked by the magic beast, the boy points his cell phone in its direction and seals it forever. The wounded swordsman praises the boy for his courage, but says that the item is not a human object. He then asks for it back. Kanglim, in turn, points the cell phone in his direction and seals him also. 2 weeks later, the city has returned to normal. However, Kanglim takes advantage of his new ability to hunt evil spirits. In one of these fights, we see that even with the device, he was not alone. When the battle got complicated, the boy invoked the swordsman quickly and defeated the enemies without much effort. One of these creatures seems to ask forgiveness for his actions. However, Kanglim doesn't care and seals the creature in the device. After the battle, Kanglim again points the phone in the swordsman's direction, but the magic is different this time. The effect did not appear because the memory of the device was full. The swordsman, understanding the situation, takes the cell phone back and turns into a common human, saying that even though he's a ghost messenger, he will stay in that world watching closely. Scared, Kanglin runs to his house. The next day, the students were cleaning the classes, but Kanglin was tired after the previous night. He just slept on the table when one of his classmates approached him, asking if the boy was okay. But Kanglin, angry, gets up, asking him to stop bothering him. The boy, in turn, apologizes and disappears slowly into the air. However, the students who observed that scene were scared because, for them, the boy was screaming at nobody. While taking the garbage out of the school, a group of girls commented on how strange he was, citing his dark past since rumors circulated that demons had captured his mother. However, even with all the slander about him, he seems not to care and continues his life normally. On the other hand, his grandfather ends up receiving an unexpected visit. A spiritual messenger appears, reporting that that place smells like a rotten corpse. We then discover that Kanglin's grandfather was also a spirit and the boy kept him hidden. The old man tries to defend himself with all his strength but ends up being captured by a magical device. That afternoon, Kanglin returns from school in the rain, but when he arrives home, he finds the house completely destroyed. After realizing that his grandfather has been captured, he cries in fear of losing the only member of his family he has left. Still, at this moment, the boy ends up finding the map with the exact location of where the enemy could be. Without wasting time, he gets up and runs towards the building, but when he gets there, he faces a scary scene. After a mortal battle, the swordsman is cornered by a powerful, angry creature. Kanglin tries to save him, but he is not strong enough and ends up restrained by a powerful spiritual technique used by the villain. Approaching Kanglin, the man says how he sent his beloved grandfather to the beyond and that he would be next in line. Angry at those words, Kanglin bites his left arm and pulls out a piece of it. In turn, the spiritual hunter feels humiliated since it is unacceptable for a human to injure him. Because of that, he decides to finish him off once and for all. However, when calling his spiritual creature, he realizes that the swordsman has transformed into a bizarre monster, sucking all the spiritual energy of the ghost. The swordsman attacks furiously, but the hunter seems to have no problems defending himself from his attacks. After a few minutes of a mortal battle, the villain locks the swordsman with his spiritual chains. He is about to kill him, but taking advantage of this moment of distraction, Kanglin runs towards the villain and hits him with the cell phone of souls. The swordsman then summons a portal and sends the villain to another dimension. The swordsman, in turn, thanks Kanglin for the help and sends him away, but the boy grabs his shirt and begs him to save his grandfather, who a magical device had captured. Knowing that the swordsman asks him if he had any idea of what he had done since people dead in the spiritual world could cause severe damage to people still alive. However, Kanglin says he understands the situation. Still, his grandfather was the only thing he had in the world, and losing him would take all his will to live. However, while discussing the matter, a golden snake suddenly appears behind the swordsman and captures him to a portal that connects the world of humans and the world of souls. Again, the swordsman finds himself trapped in a fight against the hunter of souls. The two launch powerful attacks against each other. The hunter summons a soul-devouring gigantic creature, but in retaliation, the swordsman summons the mighty holy spirits to take them back to the realms of hell. Meanwhile, Kanglin watches the fight behind the portal, but the door closes slowly before he can see the end. The boy then starts to think about the consequences of entering the spirit world only to see his grandfather again. Innocently, he touches the portal and goes through to the world of the dead. With that, his spirit leaves his body and he is forever lost in the deeps of the ocean. All that is left are the good memories of a cruel past. And that concludes our recap of the anime. If you haven't already then, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on all the latest anime recaps and reviews. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a moment of anime greatness. Until the next video, stay tuned and keep exploring the extraordinary realm of anime with us.